Hi folks, so I just wanted to share with you something that I discovered. If you ever have trouble keeping up with where you're at with your square knots and your spiral knots, I had a bit of a revelation. So I'm going to share that with you so that you'd never get lost again in which way you're supposed to be tying your knots for a square knot or a spiral knot. So for your square knot, I'm assuming people have a fairly good idea how to do a square knot. You might not. So anyway, what you want to do, if you're doing a straight line of square knots, to start off with, you've got your two cords attached with your lark's heads. You want to try and make your inside guiding cord about 1/3 as long as your outside working cords. So you have 1, 2, around 3 of this to 1 of this. All right, have that about 3 times longer on the outside. So you can start on either side to make a square knot. You can either start with your 4 going frontwards or your 4 going backwards. I start with my 4 going forwards, so I make my number 4 and then I bring my other outside working cord over the 4, under the middle and over the 4 on the other side, and just pull that up, give it a bit of a tug, and then I do it from the other side. So I make my 4, I go over the 4, under the middle and over the 4 and pull that up. So that's one complete square knot, and then you just keep working like that from the first side, over the 4, under the middle, over the 4, and from the second side, over the 4, under the 4, over the 4, under the middle and over the 4. Now you might get distracted while you're doing this. The phone might ring, or the baby might cry, or the cat might puke on the carpet, and you've got to go, and you come back and you're like, oh gosh, where was I up to with this knot? Which side did I do a complete one? Am I halfway through? Which way am I going? All you need to remember when you're tying a square knot is that you always start your 4 on the side that has this loop over the top. So this loop's on the left, so I start from the left and do a frontwards 4, and then I go over the 4, under the middle, over the 4. Now that's on this side, this over the top loop, so we know we're going from this side, over the 4, under the middle, over the 4. And you just keep going. Now the beauty of this is, if your work gets turned over, get out the way, chair. If your work gets turned over, you just keep doing the same thing. So here's your over side, this is your loop over, so this is the side we'll start. You do your 4, over the 4, under the middle, over the 4. There you go. Now it's on this side, so we start this side. Over, under, over. You can turn it back over the front way and just keep going. Whichever side has this loop over the top here, that's your first side that you start with. So over, under, over, keep going. Now, spiral knots. A spiral knot is basically just half of a square knot. So I'm starting again. I've got my guide cords shorter than my working cords, and you can start either side. If you start on the left, it will twist to the right. If you start on the right, it will twist to the left. So if you're making something that's got 2 symmetrical sides, you might want to start one side one way and the other side the other way, so that they come together nicely. So anyway, start with your 4 cords. You've got your guide cords and your working cords. Simply, whichever side you're starting, do your 4, then your other cord over the 4, under the middle, over the 4, pull it up. Whoop. And then you just keep doing that from the same side. 4 on the same side, and go over, under, over, over, under, over, over, under, over, from the same side each time. And you can see the spiral starting to form here. So we just keep doing that. Over, under, over. And see, I tied myself up in all sorts of knots trying to do this, because I would just try and keep following that same side around, and it would get more and more awkward to work with, and I would make all sorts of mess. But the thing with spiral knots is you always start on the side that has this tail coming up. You see, you've got one tail that's going down and one tail that's coming up. So whichever side has the tail coming up is the side you do your 4 from. So over, under, over. And you just keep doing that. And it doesn't matter if you're working from this side. See, coming up. Make your 4, over, under, over. Give that a tug because it's really awkward from that side now. So we can just switch over to the other side and do it from this side. So this is our tail coming up now. So we go over, over, under, over. So for your spiral, always work from the side that has the tail coming up. Over, under, over. So that is just the way you do it. And so as your spiral starts turning around more, you can just turn it over and start from the back. Do it from the back or the front. So long as you keep working with this tail that comes up, you can't go wrong with your spiral. Doesn't matter whether you're from the front or the back. Always use the tail that's coming up, and you'll end up with a beautiful spiral. So for your spiral knot, always use the cord that's coming up. And for your square knot, always use the side first that has the loop over the top. So square, over, under, over, loop over here. So we start with this side, over, under, over. And that's it. That was my revelation about how to keep track of my square knots and my spirals. I hope that helps you in some way. Thanks for watching. Bye.